A new InBloom hydroponic garden. I just got it less than a week ago. Got this on November 1st. And that same day I got it set up. It takes just minutes to set up, and planted my seeds. And now it's only been 6 days since I planted my 5 little plants so far, and they're already sprouting, so very cool. So I just want to show you a little quick run through of how you set this up. It's super easy. When you get it, and I'm going to take these are basically like little terrarium caps to help hold in the heat and moisture. But I'm just going to lift them off so they don't fall off when I lift this up. But this is where your water goes in. It's super easy to know how much water you need because they have this really clever gauge here that floats up and down with the water. So unlike my other garden that has a gauge on the front, which I sometimes have to get a flashlight, or if my plants are really growing well, I've got roots in there, and so it's kind of hard to see, is that the line for the gauge or is that a root? So this is just so easy. I can walk by here. I don't even have to walk up to the garden. I just glance over and I'm like, no, we're still at max. So when you get down to about here, about half full, that's when you should add more water, and then you can easily tell. You probably just add about half a liter or a liter. This holds 2 liters total. So just watch the gauge as you add the water. And then this is the little opening right here. You just pour the water in. You can just do this with water bottle, but I don't like to spill and make a mess. So I just stuck my little, funnel in there and poured the water in there with the water bottle. So super easy. And I'm just going to lift this off to show you the inside. Oops. So the inside, there's a little pump inside there. When you get it, it's going to have some of the packaging stuff. These little cups and stuff are going to be inside of there. So just take everything out. Make sure that the pump is properly seated in the bottom, like you can see here. And that little plastic piece goes above it. I wasn't paying attention, and when I initially set it up, I noticed the one pot was kind of bouncing around, and I realized, oh, what's this spare part? And then I realized, oh, it fits right in there. And then the water, as the pump is going, it's quite gentle, the amount of water that it is moving around. So we're just going to easily put this back in here. Then all you're going to do is take these little plastic containers that come up, the little, I guess, pod holders, and you're going to stick one in each little port. Then you're going to put one of these little sponges, and then you can put whatever seeds you want to put in here. I'm trying a few different things. I'm kind of skeptical about broccoli because it grows really large, but the one that I found was supposedly a smaller plant, so we shall see. This is called, I think it was called Paris Island lettuce, something like that, butter crunch lettuce, and some cilantro. And then this one is dill. I forgot I took the tag off it. They do come with these little stickers that you can put on here. This is supposed to help prevent algae growth by covering up the part of the sponge. I haven't had any problem with algae growth in my other garden, so I don't really use these, but I figured I'd give them a try, see if it makes any difference at all. Then all you've got to do, it's oh, and then the chemicals, I'm sorry. You've got a plant food A and plant food B. And you would put the amount in here based on the volume of water you've got in here, 2 liters, so it's just 10 milliliters of each. There's also other plant foods that you can buy that you just add in every 2 weeks, but just make sure when you're adding water, you're adding the plant food, and you're always adding in the proper ratio. Then what you want to do is this is automatically going to stay on for 16 hours and turn off for 8 hours. And then during that entire 24 hours, the pump will cycle on and off. So you don't have to do anything about the pump. It'll just automatically go. But what you want to do is you want to figure out when do you want your lights to come on. I'm a nighttime sleeper. I don't want to be up super early, so I have my lights come on at 8 a.m. and then they go off 16 hours later, which would be 8 plus 16 would be 24, so they go off right at midnight. And then they cycle back on at 8 a.m. So all you'd have to do is, like I plugged mine in, set mine up that day, but then the next morning, I don't get up that early at 8 a.m., but I set my alarm, I came out here, I unplugged it, I replugged it, I turned it on, and now it's automatically cycling on and off. And you can see the buttons here. When you're growing vegetables, you want to make sure the power, veg, and pump lights are all on. If you're growing flowers, then you'd use the flower button instead of the pump, and then that changes the colors of the lights. But these are super easy to use. I've been using a larger garden for about a year now and absolutely love it. It's really cool to be able to grow lettuces in wintertime. I'm an avid gardener during the rest of the year, but once fall hits and things get too cold, I can no longer have my homegrown lettuces. So it's really nice to be able to just walk up here. I have this in my dining room on a little table. It doesn't take up a lot of space. You could put this anywhere you want as long as you've got somewhere to plug in. But yeah, it's really nice. You could grow herbs. You can grow, there's some miniature tomatoes and miniature eggplants. There's a bunch of different plants. Just be really conscious of, read the packaging to see what you'd plant in here. You're obviously not going to plant root vegetables because there's nowhere for, you can't grow carrots in here, or you can't grow pumpkins that have huge vines. And I even tried some beans in my other one, but I realized that beans grow up and they need to have sun on those vines and leaves that are going up, and you don't have that inside, so they're not going to grow properly. So just be conscious. There's lots of groups out there. There's lots of especially Facebook groups and YouTube where you can find out the best things to grow. People will recommend different seeds and whatnot. I just used what I have, and yeah, these are definitely a really cool garden. I love the color of this. It's a pretty gold. It's almost kind of a rose gold. The one thing I did notice about this one that I liked much better than my other garden is that the light panel here is just really easy to move up and down. You can do it with one hand, and it doesn't easily come apart like the my other one did. So I don't have to worry about like knocking it, or, you know, coming in here and just raising it a little bit and the whole thing comes apart and unplugs. It's just really sturdy. Then you do get these little caps like I was showing you at the beginning. When you first planted your seeds, you want to keep these on there to keep the heat and moisture in. And then once the little sprouts are big enough, you're going to plant, I usually plant 3 seeds at once. And then once the little sprouts are grown up a bit, then I pluck out the 2 smaller sprouts. I did read in the instructions that said you could grow a couple plants in there. I've never had much luck doing that, and because they're going to be fighting for space in the roots. So you're far better off just plucking and just having the strongest of the 3 sprouts continue to grow. But so far we've got 3 out of 5 of these have already sprouted in 6 days, which is really great. So yeah, I highly recommend this garden. It's super cute. It's really nice. It'd make a great gift for Christmas, and it's a really great price too. It's much cheaper than the air garden. 10 days after I planted some seeds for the first time in my InBloom hydroponic garden, and so far we've got a little butter crunch sprout coming up here. In the back here we've got, I think it was called Paris Island or something. I need to re-tag that one, but that one's coming in nicely. Nothing yet from the cilantro. Or this one is kind of slowly sprouting. This is dill, but I know dill grows very, very, very slow. And then we have a little broccoli back here, which again, I'm not sure if broccoli can grow, unless this, I don't know what these seeds are. So I don't know if it's a miniature variety or not, but we shall see. But I just wanted to show you that it has sprouted, and I have not had to add any water, and it's been already about 10 days.